Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Michael Smerconish, and thank you so much for being here. This is an awfully important part of the program for me because I have been so looking forward to sharing some very serious thoughts. Thoughts that will not come as a surprise to any regular listener of this program, but thoughts that frankly are heard far too infrequently on these airwaves, wherever these airwaves may be. A month ago, the Washington Post, in a lead editorial titled Party Purges, said, "The increasing polarization of the nation's politics is fueling a blood sport in this election year, the ideological purification of both parties." The editorial went on to say, "The world is complicated, and an electorate so diverse in geography, race, class, and beliefs can't be shoehorned into two fixed templates. There's no particular reason why all advocates of fiscal restraint should also oppose abortion rights, or why supporters of a progressive tax code should necessarily favor restrictions on gun ownership. The more litmus tests are imposed, the greater the number of voters who will find themselves politically homeless." The Post said, "We can think of no important question. The question of, is there a way to push back against the movement toward partisanship and paralysis? And in the months before the election, we intend to provide a forum to continue a discussion on these issues." Well, as of today, that discussion includes me. Because on the editorial page of today's Washington Post, under the headline, "On Cable TV and Talk Radio, a Push Toward Polarization," I have authored the following. "Any conversation about political polarization would be incomplete without a look at the media's role in shaping opinions. From my view on the front lines, I have seen a rapid escalation of extreme dialogue, sadly something sure to guarantee high ratings. Indeed, Campbell Brown's departure from her CNN show last month marks another tombstone in the graveyard of moderate, thoughtful analyses. Why does this matter? Well, I'd argue that the climate in Washington is being shaped by an artificial presentation of attitudes on cable TV and talk radio. To view and to listen is to become convinced that there are only two diametrically opposed philosophical approaches to the issues, and yet, working daily in both mediums, I often think that the only people I meet who see the world entirely through liberal or conservative lenses are the hosts with whom I rub shoulders. Buying gas or groceries or attending back-to-school nights, I speak to people for whom the issues are a mixed bag. They're liberal on some, conservative on others, middle of the road on the rest. But politicians don't take their cues from those people. No, politicians emulate the world of punditry. Opinions from the middle are underrepresented, even shunned in the modern debate. Consider, in May of 2008, a few weeks after Pennsylvania's presidential primary, I was scheduled to appear on CNN's Larry King Live. During the customary pre-interview with a program producer, I gave a summation of how I saw the presidential race. The producer was satisfied. At the conclusion of our chat, I asked, "How will I be identified?" "As a John McCain supporter," I was told. "But I'm not sure I'll be voting for McCain," I responded. There was silence. The producer asked whether CNN could identify me as a conservative, to which I responded, "Well, if someone who supports harsh interrogation, thinks we should be out of Iraq but in Pakistan, doesn't care too much if two guys hook up, and believes we ought to legalize pot and prostitution, if that man is a conservative, then fine." There was more silence. "Why not just introduce me as a radio host, a columnist, and an author?" I asked. I was told to await a callback to see whether I was still needed on the program. Now, ultimately, I did appear under the headline of talk radio host, columnist for the Philadelphia Daily News and Inquirer. He is a Republican. Another time, a Fox News producer invited me to appear on a program to discuss then-candidate Barack Obama. I was told that they were, quote, "looking for someone who would say he's cocky, and that his cockiness will hurt him, if not in the primary, definitely in the general election against McCain." I declined. A few hours later, the very same producer made a new pitch. Well, how about a debate at the top of the show as to whether or not Hillary is trustworthy? We have someone who says she is. We're looking for someone who says she isn't. The message of both episodes is clear. There's no room for nuance. Either you offer a consistent, possibly artificial, ideological view, or you often don't get a say. Unfortunately, this approach is rewarded with ratings because ratings are driven by passion, not universal appeal or general acceptance. While the most recent polling and voter registration data suggest the political power lies in the middle, it remains largely untapped because it lacks the fervor of the extremes. This also explains the lack of loyalty by centrists for media personalities such as Campbell Brown, unlike the devotion the far right and left have for their own torchbearers. The more doctrinaire the viewpoint, the better the odds it will be heard.